Hey everybody, Matt Stout here. So I've been a mortgage guy for about 31 years now, and I've helped about 4,000 people get financing. And a lot of people come back to me because I've made them pretty successful in real estate and shown them what to do. And if you're a first-time investor or a last-time investor, I'll tell you this: there's one thing that always holds true, and that's cash flow. And I just want to show you. I like to buy properties for myself, but what I love to do more is look at properties. I'm kind of obsessed with finding them, and sometimes I find one I just can't buy, so I love to share it. Here's one that I found that would make an awesome short-term rental. And if you're thinking about getting into it or you're already a seasoned investor, I want to show you how we do it. So this particular property is in Luray, Virginia, and it's by the Luray Caverns and the Caverns. And what the Caverns are, this one's 8 minutes from there. It's a pretty sick place with like caves and all kinds of natural wonders and stuff. It brings in about 500,000 people a year. And then not only that, but it's also just next door to Shenandoah National Park, which has almost 2 million visitors a year. So it's a great location for a vacation rental. Really easy market to be licensed in. And, let's just see what it looks like. So my friends at STR Insights have this awesome software that shows us what properties can make. They're tracking Airbnbs all over the country. And here's one that I think looks pretty similar. I went ahead and pulled it up because I wanted to show you what this thing looked like. It definitely has some amenities that this other one doesn't have. You'd have to figure out how to get, like a hot tub and a fire pit, and maybe you could build an outbuilding with a game room in it or something so that you could, compete at this level. But this one's doing pretty good. In fact, according to this data here, it says it's doing about $53,000 a year. So how do we use that to qualify? Well, here's what I came up with in a nutshell. Let me just show you this example. This is with 20% down, but if you're a seasoned investor, you can do this with as little as 15% down. So here's what we came up with. So on this one, it's called a DSCR, which stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And this is a program that'll let me use short-term rental income projections from things like STR Insights. So at the end of the day, we just took the income from there, which we'll take 90% of it. Can you believe that? We have investors that will use 90% of what a gross revenue is. They'll then divide it. So that's $48,000 a year. So they're giving you 10% off for expenses. Now your expenses are going to be more than that, but I'm just telling you how we underwrite a loan. I would plan on more like 30%. But anyway, if you take that, divide it by 12, you get $4,000 a month in income. Well, on this particular property, the payment with 20% down is less than $2,000. So if you divide those numbers into each other, you come up with what's called a DSCR ratio. All we need is a 1.0. So in other words, it just has to break even and you qualify. I don't need any other income documentation. We're done. It's an investment property. That's all we need. People think it's really hard to get into real estate investing. It's actually easier than buying your own house. The only downside is you got to have a little bit of money down. With a first-time home buyer, yeah, you can get in with 3% down, but you got to show all this income and stuff. With DSCR, you got a little bit more skin in the game, but we can make it work with cash flow loans. Even with 15% down, this thing still cash flows. The payment's only $250 more a month, and you would save $14,000. So you could even knock this down to about $45,000 cash to close with a 15% down. The only caveat is you do have to have experience as an investor to qualify. So that's in a nutshell how we do it. This is kind of a real live update. We've had some of our rates reduced lately. I wanted to show you that. If you're interested in doing more of this, I'd love to help you with the financing. My friends at STR Insights are happy to help you find a property. You can always just click on this link right underneath my name and find a time to schedule a meeting with me, and I'm happy to go over this with you in more detail. I'd love to work with you and make you win. That's what I'm all about. Have a great day.